Amazing moments happen so much at SiriusXM, we want you to see them. SiriusXM Video lets you watch your favorite SiriusXM shows on the SiriusXM app. Groundbreaking interviews, amazing in-show moments, behind-the-scenes footage, live performances, all come to life in a way you only imagined before. Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
From every decade and music style you love. Plus, you can watch some of your favorite SiriusXM shows with SiriusXM Video. And you can do it all along with listening in your car as part of our music and entertainment plan. Right now, we're offering SiriusXM subscription plans for as low as $6 a month, plus fees and taxes. Call 844-711-8800 to find out more about these amazing offers.
Mark Anthony's Muévense Radio. Essential hits. Timeless influences and personal stories from a star known for conquering the big stage and the big screen. Mark Anthony's Muévense Radio, a limited run channel starting tomorrow. Channel 107 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The iconic rap verses. The artists who shape the culture.
I know when that hotline bling.
Flex your musical muscles. The new channel, feature hip-hop from the 2000s. In the 2010s.
Be humble. Holla, sit down.
On Flex 2K. Now, SiriusXM Channel 49 and the SiriusXM app. Included in all trials and popular plans. To hear Flex 2K, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visit SiriusXM.com/go.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see.
When thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018148688.
Rondo Deportes, Bonjour, Vidi Vidi Vici. Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to me, and people who love the universe, and that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood on a beautiful April the 30th, 2024. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them sit ya where the good Lord split ya. So hopefully he didn't split you too wide. I really do appreciate doing Big C Sports Podcast. I want to say I produce the show, I direct the topics, I broadcast all the shows, and then I do the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency we could all use for our laughter, and our lives for our laughter. And then the commercials are done, the stats are provided, and then the storytelling, I even do the play-by-play. LeBron James for 3, yes, in your life, get the hole. Jamal Murray for 3, yes, in your life, get the hole. And can you believe Anthony Davis got hurt again and kind of took himself out of the game in the third, came back in the fourth and was not quite as effective. And the Lakers lost by 1 basket. They only needed 2 more baskets by Davis. all fair and level war. You got the defending NBA champion, Denver Nuggets. They earned it, and no one can take that away from them. They've beaten the Lakers 4-1 this year, and it was a 4-game sweep last year. And then the show is uploaded to 29 podcast platforms out of New York City, and then streaming on 4 TV platforms: Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Number 10, I never missed a show since creating Big C Sports Podcast back in the day, and I really do appreciate that. Not many people can say they never missed a show. Now we have people who miss a day of practice. I'm not talking about the game, I'm talking about practice, but that's all fair level war. You can miss a day in practice too, but with Big C Sports Podcast, I never miss. I don't take time off, but I love what I'm doing, and even more so than that, I love paying homage to the Veterans Crisis Hotline, because they are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. You know, anybody going through issues, pick up the phone, call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. And when you do, you want to give us some praise, because we all need somebody to lean on. And it's nice when somebody's leaning back, if that makes sense to you. It's always nice when somebody's leaning back, and that's what I love doing with Big C Sports Podcast. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. It's just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then God said, let there be light. I really do appreciate that. I always pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force, because a mind is a troubled thing to waste, and I'm doing my best to make sure that I get it in there. Everybody has their own thoughts about reparations. I believe so much in either lead, follow, or get out of the way. I have my own thoughts about a commercial that I'm doing, but I want to pay homage to the California Reparations Task Force before I bring on my special guest. I want to pray some praise to the chair, Camila Moore. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Amos C. Brown, the vice chair. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Council Member Monica Montgomery Stepping. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Assembly Member Reginald Jones Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to her attorney, Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to give praise to Dr. Javon Scott Lewis, professor at California Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I also want to give praise to attorney Donald K. Tamaki. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. Part of the California Reparations Task Force. Give them all praise. I love giving them praise, praise, praise. Because without their help, we wouldn't hear much about a California Reparations Task Force. You would hear about other things, but the reparations is so powerful. And with Big C Sports, I want to make sure that I'm a part of that. I got a commercial that I'm working on before I talk about the NFL draft with my special guest. I have a guide to protect, preserve, and transfer wealth with RDC Resource Development Consulting Inc. in conjunction with the law office of Scott Thibodeau and attorney George Jones. The missing link, long-term care solutions by the book. I love saying solutions by the book, because we do have solutions by the book. I'm telling you, helping seniors get their benefits, Medicare and you, and taking care of tomorrow, Medi-Cal in California, and your family and spouse can avoid the spend down for nursing home costs. You can find out your options, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. Our promise to you is specialized to navigate and maximize long-term care benefits, protection of your assets without a spend down. All paperwork and communication with all government agencies are handled by a staff of entitlement specialists. Ongoing consulting provides updates as necessary, benefits covering skilled nursing facilities, prescription medication, medical equipment costs, and more. Protection of your assets, including your home, thereby allowing you to leave a legacy for your family, avoiding the nightmare of debt brought by the government's estate recovery program called probate. Can take up to 40%, and a one-time processing fee versus monthly insurance premiums for the rest of your life. But not only that, as I love saying, not only that, protection insurance coverage required by law, general liability, workers' compensation, lawyers specializing in living trust, Medicaid or Medi-Cal planning for long-term care, avoid probate, life insurance, veterans benefits, aid and attendance, pre-planning, and avoid the look-back period. Your fixed assets, bank account, checking account, savings account, money market account, certificates of deposit, life insurance with cash values, fixed indexed annuities, variable assets, real estate, qualified money, IRA, 401k, and other investments. Really do appreciate that. avoid the capital gains. Over 3 decades of experience. Attention business owners, find out your other options to protect what your insurance does not cover. 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. And you give that some praise. I say give it praise, praise, praise. I love doing that with the Big C team because a mind is a trouble thing to waste. I love pushing reparations. And I want to also say we have on our team some great minds that are a part of the RDC team and why people trust us with the over 33 years of experience. When you get over 3 decades, that's a lot. And I love saying our endorsements are Scott Thibodeau, attorney at law, Mr. George Jones, chairman of the California Black Chamber of Commerce and California Black Chamber of Commerce Foundation, Mr. Leon Woods, resource development consultant, works with some of the top lobbyists in California, Ms. Cheryl Brown, she's the chair of the California Commission on Aging. Mr. Ray De La Cruz, the CEO of Resource Development Consulting, has the endorsement of the late CalPERS chief legal counsel, the great Robert Carlson. He endorses the RDC team. If he can do it, you can too. Also, Mr. Alex De La Cruz, the founder of American Veteran Benefits. And then there's Charlton Curry, the RDC team, National Black Wall Street Project co-chair, Northern California chapter. You got to give that some praise. I love giving it praise, praise, praise. And I want to thank Double O. She's part of the payout committee for the National Black Wall Street Project. Has her own economics awareness talk show called Let's Eat. And everybody loves to eat. Really do appreciate her work. And she had sent me Executive Article 13985. That was President Biden doing some work for communities that needed the help. And that was in his first term. So I want to say that's that. And that was that's more like an infomercial big thing. Well, that's true. I love doing infomercials too. But that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I want to talk about the NFL draft today. But before I get into the draft, I want to bring in someone that I just learned about just this week. And his name is Greg Grimes. He's an ex-CFL football player, played high school football in Central California at Foothill High School in Bakersfield, and went on to the University of Washington. I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. And when I come back, I'm going to talk to Mr. Greg Grimes, and he's going to talk about some things and the foundation for his son. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe and streaming on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. I have a guest that I have on for the program today, and by the name of, as I get ready to bring on Mr. Grimes, I'm going to talk to you about high school football in California. I think it's the best in the country. Of course, Texas has their arguments, Florida has their arguments, but I can tell you some of the powerhouse programs in California have beaten everybody all over the country, especially with Mater Dei and then St. John Bosco, as well as De La Salle, going around the country, knocking up state powers. But I'm going to also bring you back into Central California. The winningest high school football program is Bakersfield, California, and that's the alma mater of the late Frank Griffith. So, but I'm going to talk about that Bakersfield area football when I bring on Greg, and he has a few more things to talk about too. But this is Big C Sports Podcast coming to you worldwide. I love saying Latin strike. We're going to bring on Mr. Greg Grimes in just a moment, and he's going to talk to you about some things that he's been through in the world of sports. All right, back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. This is NFL draft. We just had the draft in Detroit. They had the biggest crowd in the history of the NFL draft. So they say. Everybody says that's how they build it up. We don't know if it's true or not, but those are the stories. But I think when it comes to football, I think football in California, they have the best high school football all over the country, whether it's Florida or Texas. We have programs, as I mentioned earlier, Mater Dei of Santa Ana and St. John Bosco, Bellflower, De La Salle of Concord, California. They've gone around the country and beaten everybody over the last 20 plus years. But I want to bring you to a part of the state of California that has the winningest high school football program in the state of California, and that's Bakersfield High School, the Drillers. And they were coached by Dwight Goldie Griffith. They won multiple state championships. And then, as I mentioned earlier, is the alma mater of the late Frank Gifford. But one of their rivals is called Foothill High School, known as the Trojans. And one of the better players to ever come out of Foothill High School is Greg Grimes. He's also played University of Washington Huskies. He played in the CFL and has some opportunities in NFL football. Mr. Greg Grimes, welcome to Big C Sports. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. So number one, I appreciate you being on the program. I want to jump right in. When we talk about sports, it's a $1 billion industry. Boys and girls sports is the foundation to this $1 billion industry. But go back to Bakersfield, California, Foothill High School. Talk about what got you into football and some of the success you had there that opened doors for you at the next level. Go right ahead, sir.
Okay, I went to Foothill High School, and they were one of the top teams in the city. They were going 10-0 almost every year, and when I got there, we kept it going.
Yeah.
It's a great program there, and
Yeah.
what got me into football from a little kid was like seeing Mike Garrett play football, Dick Buckets play football.
Yes.
And when I seen him play, I said I can do that, and I started catching the ball with my brothers.
Yep.
And then we started playing satellite football.
Yeah.
And then I played flag football.
Yeah.
For elementary school. And then I got in junior high school. I played middle linebacker for a couple of years.
Yes.
In Jack Frost. And in my 4 years at Foothill, I played tailback and cornerback.
So you were doing it all. That's in the same dirt that the late Frank Griffiths was running around at Bakersfield High School. I think there was a movie called Wildcats. I think it was Taft High School in Bakersfield. So down that region, people mostly know about Bakersfield, but there are a lot of other great programs too. And then from Foothill High School, I know you got a lot of recruits from the Pac-8 at that time, went into the Pac-10. Talk about what happened as a high school senior and then being recruited by some of the top college football programs on the West Coast.
Okay, yes. I had Stanford and Washington, UW recruit me. Oregon State, yeah, they all recruited me. They all came to my high school.
Yes.
I was a tailback, and I rushed for over 1,000 yards. And then when it came to the playoffs, I ran against Hanford, 220 yards and 14 carries.
Hold on now. Now, as we get older, that 1 foot cash blitz that we caught, it became 3 feet long. You saying you had over 200 yards on 14 carries against Stanford? You say it again?
Against Hanford.
On the Bullpups. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, the Hanford Bullpups. Okay, go right ahead.
That team had 4 players that went to the NFL. So one of them was Mark Lee. He played with me at University of Washington.
Okay. That sounds good. Now, you and I can get in. Obviously, sometimes people can't defend themselves, but talk about why you chose the University of Washington Huskies.
Well, they had a coach that was recruiting me, it was a sophomore. His name was Ray Dorr.
Okay.
When I was a junior. He started recruiting me as a junior because he had just got there. And he was one of the nicest coaches, and he kept on saying, "We want you. We're going to get you. We're going to get you."
Yeah.
So I was kind of, impressed with that. Just what he said. We want you. And then all the other scouts started coming around, but he was the first one to come talk to me.
Now, when you were at, this is talking to Greg, and Greg Grimes, and he's obviously talking about his career as a high school football player, then in the college. I'm going to get into professional later. But when you went to the University of Washington, and you had, was it Don James or before Don James that you were there?
Don James, he just did coach here for 1 year.
Okay, wonderful. Now,
it was the second year when I was in 76. He coached 75.
Okay, wonderful. So the Huskies, obviously, I know we'll talk about why they went to the Big Ten later. I know that probably makes you upset a little bit. But when you got to the University of Washington, talk about what was your experience like? Obviously, coming from Bakersfield, California, going up to Seattle, Puget Sound, big crowds now, and you're playing Pac-8 football. Obviously, it was always USC on the West Coast, UCLA, Oregon, but Washington was good, Cal, Stanford. But then you also had the chance to play up there. I believe you played with Warren Moon, or am I missing a year or two?
Yeah, Warren Moon was my quarterback my sophomore year. my freshman year, he was a quarterback also. He was quarterback my freshman year. Sophomore year, he took us to the Rose Bowl.
Yes, the great Warren Moon. And they wouldn't pick him up in the NFL. He went to Canada and set records, made the Hall of Fame in Canada for the Edmonton Eskimos, and also came back to the NFL. He's the only quarterback that made the Hall of Fame in Canada and also in the NFL, at CFL and NFL. No one's done that except for the great Warren Moon. But also, when you went there, I believe you played a lot of positions in high school, but where did you play primarily at the University of Washington? Were you a safety, defensive back?
I was a safety. I went there as a cornerback and for a couple weeks, and then they moved me over to the strong safety.
Yes.
And I went from there.
So now that we talked about your thoughts at the University of Washington, some of the players, I believe, you played around the era that Ronnie Lott played at USC, and
Yes.
also there's a lot of great football players. I think Charles White, but he was
the running back.
Yeah, running back. So talk about some of the best players that you've played against, because they had a nickname for you, and talk about some of the best players that you played against that maybe got more media coverage than you, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I played. Yeah, I played against a safety by the name of Kenny Easley.
Yeah.
And I played against Ronnie Lott. And they got great coverage. And their team was pretty good.
Yeah.
But we ended up beating USC my sophomore year,
Yeah.
and we went to the Rose Bowl. But other than that, they did have a good football program. John Robinson was doing a great job at USC.
Yeah, John Robinson always did a great job. So I want to run down some of your bio too, talking to the great Greg Grimes. Came out of Foothill High School, loved giving some praise to the black and gold down in the Central Valley of Kern County. But now, in 1981, you played with the Ottawa Rough Riders in the CFL, and you were the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. And once that hit the media with ESPN, I think you said you were released in 1980. You were a free agent with the Seattle Seahawks. So when you went on the field to play defense, you could see half the offense would leave, and it happened for a few weeks. And that's the impact that you had on defense. And I think your defensive back coach was Jack Christensen, and he told you that he was recruiting JC players, and he wished that he could have gotten you when he came to visit for Stanford. Talk about that transition of being in that situation where now it's you up there in Canada, in the CFL.
That was in Seattle, right there, with the Seahawks with Jack Christensen. But when I went to Canada in '81, I played for the Ottawa Rough Riders. I was a front runner for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yes.
ESPN said Greg Grimes is the front runner for the Defensive Player of the Year. I watched the game that night. We had played against BC.
Yeah, British Columbia Lions.
We shut them down. I mean, I was all over the place.
Okay.
Greg Grimes is the front runner.
Wow,
Okay.
That's amazing. So give me your thoughts, too. When people talk about Canada and they talk about NFL football, some players that can play in the NFL, they can't play in Canada. The field is wider and longer. You got to have more stamina. And some players that play in Canada, they don't make it in the NFL. But talent is talent. And oftentimes you'll play against guys at the college level that can play in either league, but sometimes have more success in one league more than the other, based on systems, not based on not being good enough. A lot of players have played in Canada and the NFL. But give me your thoughts and give our audience a thoughts. When you played in Canada or played running around with the Seahawks, did you see a different level in competition?
Yeah, I see a lot of running in the NFL. They was running the ball back then.
Yeah.
Maybe 55%, 60% of the games, they would run the ball. So and it was more of an aggression game in the NFL.
Yes.
When you go to Canada, it's more of a finesse game.
Yes.
You know? And they had a lot of wide receivers, 5, 6 receivers coming out at you.
Yes.
And you have to cover them when you're in a zone or man.
Yes.
You know? And the field is wider and longer.
Yeah.
So you only got 2 downs to get a first down, you know?
Yes.
Third down, you got to punt it if you don't get it in there for those 2 down.
Exactly. Now I wanna
game is more a high scoring game because it could be a high scoring game, but we had a pretty good defense, and in '81, right before we went to the Grey Cup, they let me go.
Yeah, I mean, football's a tough business, and people think that's easy going. But every play, you got to be better than the next guy that wants your position. Obviously, talking to the great Greg Grimes, and he played football at high school at Bakersfield, Foothill High School, then went to the University of Washington, had a stint in the CFL and also in the NFL. But I want to talk about some things that are somewhat outside of the game, but it's a business. And you know it's a business. It's not just about scoring a touchdown. When you talked about you were in Buffalo, you had another great camp before Dallas Cowboys called the GM, and talk about that experience. You had some good and bad when it came to some of your NFL experience. Talk about that, please, if you don't mind.
Yes. I was in Buffalo, and I was having a great camp, and I was up there with Chuck Knox. And then, he had me running the strong safety, and maybe another Dixon was over there playing some strong end free.
Yeah.
But I was doing pretty good, and he was liking it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he called me in his office one morning and said that he had to let me go. It ain't nothing that he decided. He said that the Dallas Cowboys guy is calling in there and talking to the front office, the GMs and the president.
Yes. Well,
and they want to get me out of camp. But the guy that's calling from the Dallas Cowboys used to send his top scout to my college for 4 years to look at me, Greg Grimes. His name was Red Hickey. And he had a son named Mike Hickey that was a personnel director there for the Jets. He would be coming over there looking at me. So I know it's competition that they both wanted me, in the first round, and maybe the first pick.
Yes.
And that's what the Dallas Cowboys, Red Hickey, had told me.
Well, that's interesting. You know, when you think about Dallas Cowboys, people think Jerry Jones, and they say he's very shrewd, but he also supports his players. Some people say he love you and hate you in the same day. But you know there's a side of football that they don't always show on television. There's a movie called Ballers with The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I love that movie, Ballers. To me, it kind of shows the what happens when the football field doesn't have the lights on you, if that makes sense to you. But if you can, and again, no one can defend themselves, so I just want to be fair, that you said the Dallas Cowboys, there was a lawsuit that you were involved in. I guess you can tell it with your own words.
Yeah, the lawsuit was this here. I left the University of Washington, and they had one of my ex-teammates by the name of Lance Todell using my identity for 27 years.
Wow.
I go on a cruise down in Mexico, and on that cruise, they stopped me down there, and, they arrested me.
Wow.
And they said that I was wanted in the state of Washington.
Wow.
And I haven't done nothing in Washington. I haven't done nothing in California where I was living. So I said, what can this be,
Yeah.
And then they come up and I see his face, and then I said, and I thought back. I said, this is the University of Washington. This is John James Trick. This is what he took my identity and gave it to Lance Todell, and he didn't use it for 27 years, 66 arrests.
Wow.
And so, I had to go get that all cleared out.
Yes.
Well, and then so I got an attorney out of Texas.
Yes.
By the name of Casey. He said, I'm gonna get you some good money, and we're gonna win it. I said, okay. So I was with him for about 2 years, and right before we went to court, a week before we went to court, he backed out. So I know that in Dallas, Gil Brandt was there, and he went over there and probably done paid him, and got him to back out. He said, he didn't tell me that. I told him that, and he was shocked. I said, Gil Brandt done bought you. He done bought you out. I know.
Wow.
Because a lot of things happened to me in my life.
Yes.
Even in college coaching, or I go coach for Sonoma State, or coaching at a high school, or when I was trying to get the Oregon job.
Yes.
I know that Washington was putting bad things on me.
Isn't there something, again, not here to defend himself, but I believe you said something about the late Donnie James. You didn't get I guess you got a diploma or an award after he had passed. Can you just touch that in a minute?
Yeah, degree. It's my degree. I've been begging for it since 1980. Okay?
Yeah.
I've been for it in 1980. The counselor said, you qualify to get your degree. Boom. So then they said, you ain't got to go take another class. So I took the other class, and then I was supposed to get it right then and there in '81 of January, February, or something like that.
Yes.
And I didn't get it, so I said I'm not going to go out there and chase it. I'm going to leave it alone.
Yeah, well, talking to the great Greg Grimes, obviously played. Talking about high school football, it's real talk for young people that think they're just going to play in the NFL, they're going to play in the CFL, and life's going to be great. There's a lot that goes on while you're playing the game and while you're not playing the game, and I appreciate, Greg, you going into some of the things that have happened in your career that people can be aware of. It's not all easy, even though when you're on television nowadays, and we talk about name, image, and likeness, where guys get paid on their name, image, and likeness. It wasn't that way when you played. It was more like, here's a paper bag, and don't tell anybody what's inside of the paper bag. Does that make sense to you, Mr. Grimes?
Oh, yeah, that makes great sense.
We know SMU got in trouble with that paper bag handout that they were given down south. This is Big C Sports, Charlton Curry talking to Greg Grimes. So I do want to say thank you in a few minutes for just sharing your story, because a lot of people, we had spring football now. We just finished with the NFL draft, and so I wanted to have you on so you could tell young people it's not all joy and money and good times. There's things on the opposite side that can happen too. But I want to turn the table and talk about your son and to pay homage to your son. But before we do that, is there anything else you want to finish up with your career in high school, college, CFL, and NFL, Mr. Grimes?
In college, 1979. It's the Sun Bowl. And we go down to Texas to play in El Paso, and I said, hey, I'm going to get the Defensive Player of the Game award.
Yes.
Okay? So I go out there and I play the best I could play. And then CBS come out here and said, hey, you just been selected the Defensive Player of the Game.
Yes.
But your coach, Don James, said no. Give that award to Doug Martin. And Doug Martin was my teammate, but I didn't want him to have my award.
Right.
Something I worked hard for.
Yes.
And then I thought I should be able to take that home. And I never was able to take that home. And that hurts me every day.
You know, it's like they say, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat is sometimes you got to just do the best you can, but you don't always get the reward for it. But now I want to take that same disappointment that you had, but you had a success to play in college and then in the CFL and the NFL. But I want to turn in the next few minutes to your son, and you have a foundation that pays honor to your son, the late Greg Najee Grimes. And it's up to you, but you can talk about him and how the foundation came together, and then what you're hoping to do for young people. Go right ahead, please.
Yes. The Greg Najee Grimes 212 Anchor Foundation is designed to help people that's grieving, people that with suicide tendencies, gun violence, people that's in gangs, maybe trying to get them to make a transition, to the normal life. We're doing it all. We're trying to help people.
Yes.
To hurt people.
Yes, and that's obviously, everybody can talk about what things mean to them, but you put together a foundation in honor of your son. He was also, I believe, a good college player as well, and then also went into some coaching as well. Go right ahead, talk about that if you don't mind.
Yes, Greg was a big star here in Sacramento at Intercom High School. He started there 3 years, all league 3 years, all city 3 years, all state 2 years. He was a great D lineman.
And then he went to Boise State, I believe. Boise State, he played at Boise.
Boise State. He had all the schools. He said, "Hey, I want to go to Boise State." Especially after Oklahoma. They were playing against Boise State, and Boise beat Oklahoma.
That's right.
He said, I want to go. And that was in 2007, and I think the following year he decided in 2008 to go to Boise.
To Boise State. And Boise's become a really good program over the last 20 plus years or so. Talking to the great Greg Grimes. In the last minute, Greg, I want you to, you have the foundation, And for people going through their own challenges, as you mentioned, you do a great job just reaching out to people and giving people a place to go when they do have their back up against the wall, or they're looking for someone to help them realize, their strength in numbers. Give out that foundation name again if anyone's having a challenge. They can go on to it.
Najee Grimes. Najee, N-A-J-E-E. 212 Anchor Foundation.com.
That's wonderful.
AnchorFoundation.com.
Wonderful, Greg. Well, I do appreciate your time. We have to wrap here. In the last minute, I want you to just give me your thoughts on the University of Washington. Now they left the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is just disbanded, and now they're part of the Big Ten, which is the conference that the Pac-12 and the Pac-10 and the Pac-8 used to play in the Rose Bowl. Give me your thoughts on that. But does that make you happy or sad? Or give me your thoughts on it.
Sad. It makes me sad. When I found out that was going on, I was so, I thought the Pac-12 would be here to go to the Pac-16, the Pac-20 one day, and I was be able to see that, and it didn't happen. And I see they was adding on 14 and 16 teams, and loading up for the big conferences. And we should have did the same thing, but we didn't do it.
Yeah, the Pac-12, they dropped the ball on that one, and it's unfortunate. Yes. The Pac-12 is the conference of champions. With all their sports combined, they have more championships than anyone. Well, I'm going to have to cut it there, Mr. Grimes. I do appreciate your time being on Big C Sports Podcast. I wish you nothing but the best, especially the work that you're doing, helping young people that want to get back on the right side of life, if that makes sense to you. So thank you so much. I wish you the very best, sir, and have a super fantastic day.
Likewise, you have a great day also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. This is Big C Sports, Charlton Curry, talking to the great Greg Grimes, and what he's been able to do with not only his foundation, but telling young people what it's like in sports. It's not always easy. Sometimes you got to fight for things because there's always someone trying to take your job. So that's why it's good to get a good education and not just hope that you're going to make a professional team or even a college team for that matter. So I want to just say I'm going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. And when I come back, I'm going to talk some more about what happened with the Lakers last night, in the NBA, and the NFL draft. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, we're back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all over the universe and streaming on 4 TV platforms. I really do appreciate that. Just had a conversation with Greg Grimes, talked to young people about his foundation, also high school football down at Foothill High School, Bakersfield, University of Washington under the late Donnie James, and then his opportunities in the CFL and also NFL football. And I want to bring that into the NFL draft. We just finished with the NFL draft in Detroit, Michigan. They had a great turnout, and the number 1 pick was the great Caleb Williams out of USC. And when you think about his life, it's never going to be the same. He's an elite talent, great arm strength. He has the ability to pick defenses apart. And when you think about how great he was at USC, he's going to be as good in the NFL if, and that's a big if, he can find the same type of offensive line that can protect him. But he has the foot speed to evade rushers in tight spaces. Reminds me a lot of touchdown at Patrick Mahomes, so I think he's going to do great in the NFL for the Chicago Bears. The number 2 pick was Jalen Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. And unlike Williams 6'1", about 220 pounds, Jalen Daniels 6'4", 210 pounds, the number 2 pick, is the only player in FBS history to pass for 12,000 yards and rush for 3,000 yards. He gets the ball out quickly, and when he likes the pre-snap look, he gets through his progressions fast, and he's very accurate with the football, so I think he's going to have a lot of success with the Washington Commanders. The Commanders had 21 interceptions last season and traded Sam Howell to Seattle in March. I think he's going to do wonders there. But again, he's going to need some time, but he has all the talent in the world. Number 3 pick is Drake May out of North Carolina, 6'4", 223 pounds, and he can extend plays. He finds receivers late. He adjusts his arm angle when necessary and makes impressive off-platform throws. He's tough and he's willing to take a hit. You don't want to take a hit in the NFL. It may be the last hit you have that season. So when guys are tough in high school, and you get to the next level in college, you realize players are bigger, stronger, and faster. When you get to the NFL, they're a lot bigger, stronger, and faster. So taking a hit is not always a smart thing when you get to the college level. And I think he'll learn that sooner rather than later. They don't want you guys taking hits in NFL football games. I got number 4 pick is Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State, wide receiver, 6'3", with 209 pounds. And Harrison, he punishes teams that try to cover him one-on-one. He's a polished route runner. He creates leverage with his release, and he has the ability to catch the tough pass, even one-handed at times. He's also an instinctive open field runner with a great speed to get downfield. And when it comes to 50-50 balls, you can bet he's going to grab most of those 50-50 balls. So he's going to be a great player in the NFL. The number 5 pick for the NFL is Joe Alt, offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. He's 6'9", 320 pounds. So he's going to have to work on just getting lower in the sequence of playing NFL football. Defensive linemen, they can get up under you, and that can be difficult for you if that makes sense to you for the offensive tackle. It's long and quick, outstanding feet and size. He mirrors and recovers well in pass protection. He's an excellent fit for zone-heavy schemes, and he can adjust to moving targets in space. I think he's going to have to just get his balance about him in the NFL, because you're going to play against a lot of fast, quick, strong defensive linemen that can lift you up in the air, if that makes sense to you. I got to bring in the number 6 pick to the New York Giants, Malik Neighbors. He's 6 feet, 200 pounds. He's a wide receiver, but he is LSU's all-time leader in receptions, 189 receptions and 3,000 yards. He's an explosive route runner who's a nightmare to match up out of the slot. I wonder how Greg Grimes would have handled him. He separates from man coverage and excels at working the deep ball and going over the middle as well. So he reminds me a lot of Deebo Samuel with the San Francisco 49ers, but that's my story and I'm sticking with it. Also got number 7 pick, J.C. Latham out of Alabama, offensive tackle. He's 6'6", 340 pounds, and his pre-draft analysis, a massive right tackle with the strength to move defensive linemen off the ball and overwhelm linebackers at the second level. He plays with an edge, and he buries defenders when he gets them on the ropes, and he has his hands and footwork that's going to make him someday an all-pro NFL player. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. Another player that I'm excited about, and just had Greg Grimes on, who played in the secondary for the University of Washington back under Donnie James back in the late 70s. And Michael Penix Jr., a quarterback. He was runner-up for the Heisman Trophy, and he's 6'2", with 216 pounds. He's a southpaw. Penix is a left-handed quarterback with outstanding arm strength, who led the nation in passing yards per game each of the past 2 seasons at the University of Washington. And he reads safeties and recognizes opportunities to attack downfield. He can manipulate coverage with his eyes, and Penix, he has some time that he missed with injuries, but that will probably not be as much of a factor in the NFL, as they'll keep you away from getting into the way of those defensive linemen coming to take you out. I think it's going to do fine down in Atlanta. He's behind Kirk Cousins, so he gets the chance to sit the bench a couple of years and learn from a quarterback who's also good in the pocket. I really like Michael Penix Jr. I think it's going to be great. I got the number 9 pick for the Chicago Bears, Rome Odunze, wide receiver, 6'3", 212 pounds, also out of the University of Washington. I wonder how Greg Grimes would have matched up with him in practice. Odunze, he led the nation and broke Washington's school record with 1,640 receiving yards in 2023. He's a vertical threat who gets off the line. He runs well, and he can track the deep ball a lot like what I would say Jerry Rice would do back in the day. He is smooth in transitioning upfield, and you saw him in the national championship game against Michigan. I think he's going to be great teaming up with Caleb Williams out of USC. Now, how will they play when it's 30 degrees at Soldier Field? That's the only thing they got to get used to. I don't think they ever play in 30-degree weather at the University of Washington, if that makes sense to you. Number 10 is J.J. McCarthy, quarterback out of Michigan. And the Michigan Wolverines, they were a run-heavy team. But right now, he's going to the New York Jets. 6'3", 219 pounds. He finished his college career with a 27 wins and 1 loss record as a starter. But again, under Harbaugh, they were a run-heavy team. Now, he can throw in the tight windows against zone defenses and complete passes against press man coverage. I wonder how Greg Grant would have done against him. And thanks to his anticipation and accuracy, his arm strength, he keeps his eyes downfield, and he makes impressive throws when he has to, when he knows he's going to take a hit. But you don't want to take a hit when you're in college football, because it's not like taking a hit when you go to the NFL. NFL and college are much different. Guys tend to put on a lot more muscle and a lot more power. So because a guy can take a hit in the Big Ten, it doesn't mean he's going to survive those hits when he gets to the NFL. In fact, they say just go down to the ground and live to see another day. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I'm going to bring the number 11 pick, Olu Fasnell, off of the tackle, going to Minnesota, 6'6", 312 pounds, out of Penn State. Going to put on some more size, but 6'6", he has the height, and his tape did not quite meet lofty expectations in 2023. An injury cut short his workout at the combine, where he's expected him to be a standout, but he has the tools to develop into an elite pass blocker. He's going to have to do that in the NFL. He's quick, and he's long enough to take away the edge from speed rushers, and he's just going to have to put a little bit more size, in my opinion. I got the number 12 pick out of the University of Oregon, quarterback Bo Nix at 6'2", 214 pounds. He transferred from the University of Auburn. Now, Bo Nix, he broke the NCAA single-season record for completion percentage at 77%. That led the FBS in total touchdowns, 45 passing touchdowns, 6 rushing touchdowns. In 2023, he developed into a sound decision maker over the course of his college career, and he threw just 3 interceptions in 2023. He gets the ball out quickly and is an effective point guard when he has a clean pre-snap read. I think he's going to do fine in the system that they're going to have him in up in Denver. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. When you look at how he played in the Pac-12 versus the SEC, and I think he learned how to throw the ball better in the Pac-12, as oftentimes you have the better quarterbacks coming out of the Pac-12. Caleb Williams, Heisman Trophy winner out of USC. Jaden Daniels came out of Arizona State and went to LSU, Heisman Trophy winner. And then Bo Nix was also up for the Heisman Trophy coming out of the University of Oregon. So they're better coached in the passing game in the Pac-12 than they were in the SEC. But that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. And I think the numbers tell that story. I got to go number 13, tight end Brock Bowers out of Georgia. That good a boy. He was 6'3", 243 pounds. Played at Napa High School. A lot of people like to look at him and compare him to Travis Kelce with the Kansas City Chiefs. But he's a hybrid receiver tight end who led Georgia in receiving in each of the past 3 seasons, despite missing 3 games and not playing in a bowl game in 2023. His ability to get open and make plays with the ball in his hands is exceptional. He reaches his top end speed quickly, a lot like Tony Gonzalez back in the day when he played for Atlanta and also Kansas City. He's an instinctive open field runner, and he breaks tackles. I think he averaged about 12 yards per carry and rushed for more than 3 touchdowns on 9 runs in 2022. He's going to be a good player in the NFL. The players just want an opportunity. And when you think about players coming into the world of NFL football, just like Greg Graham that I had on the program earlier, it's an adjustment. You got to get used to it. And I wish all the players nothing but the best as they make that transition to the world of NFL football. You got to be ready for it. And getting ready for it is on-field and off-the-field opportunities that you got to keep in mind. It's not all as easy and as glorified as they make it on television, but I do want to wish all those great players the best of success, and I want to say may lightning strike for all of you who love the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. I love talking about NFL football and how so many players are making their dreams come true, and hopefully the NFL would be a great place for opportunities to grow for these young players coming out of college and now have the chance to let their light shine in the world of the NFL. I wish them nothing but the best, and that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I want to close out today's show in talking about the NBA. I know everybody has their own thoughts of the LA Lakers and how they lose that series to the Denver Nuggets. Well, Denver has beaten them in the last 2 years. They beat them in 4 games last year, and they beat them in 5 games this year. So it's not as if we have to find a way to fire the coach in LA. We don't have to find a way to do anything other than realize that the Denver Nuggets and Jamal Murray, they're great. There's a reason they're great. There's a reason that they are the defending NBA champions. And now, when I think about another Jamal Murray game winner in Denver over LA, you got to realize he's the real deal. He shot the ball over Anthony Davis. He shot the ball over LeBron James. Even got a poster dunk on LeBron James. This guy, when the ball's in his hands, he's not looking to pass it up. He's looking to say, Joker inbounds to Murray. Murray with the right hand hook for three. Yes! Get the hole in your life. He's the guy that wants to close out. He wants to have the ball in his hands. And when he has the ball in his hands, he's a game winner. And I love watching him. Jamal Murray hit his second game winner in this series to help Denver advance. And now they advance to the next round where they play the Minnesota Timberwolves, All-Star and Leavenworth. But I love watching them play. So deja vu, Denver advances. They have a chance to keep hope alive for their repeat. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder, they make it way. OKC, they swept New Orleans to become the youngest team to win a playoff series. That's amazing. And what if they get the Clippers? If they get the LA Clippers, you got Russell Westbrook, you got James Harden coming back to town to OKC, and what a series that could be. If Dallas Mavericks say not so fast, my friend, they have their own hope, if that makes sense to you. We have the white hot Boston Celtics, Johnny Most inbounds. I mean, Johnny Most was a great broadcaster for the Celtics back in the day. Havlicek inbounds to Russell. Hustle over to Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge over to Larry Bird. Larry Bird over to Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum for three. Yes! Get the hole in your life. Have you ever seen such a team? Well, the Boston Celtics, the great Derek White's career night, it led Boston to a 3-1 series lead over the Miami Heat. They say if you can't take the Heat, get out of the kitchen. And Boston's played like they're the team that may win the Eastern Conference. No matter what people think about Boston losing the game to Miami, and Miami's a hot team, though. If they get hot, they can keep it close. But this Boston team, they're destined, in my opinion, to get to the Eastern Conference Championship game. And then you have Brunson's rise, and how will Jalen Brunson follow up his playoff franchise record high 47-point gem? You'll have to see. And then holding serve, the home team has won each game between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Orlando Magic. Will that trend continue? We don't know me like this strike, but I love NBA basketball. When you think about basketball in the NBA, in the Eastern Conference first round, the Miami Heat, they fell to the Boston Celtics 102-88. Boston now leads that series 3-1. You got to count on Jason Tatum and the good boys from Boston to get rid of the Miami Heat. It's the number 1 seed versus the number 8 seed. And then you have the Oklahoma City Thunder in the West round, a game for the Thunder, the number 1 seed, 97. New Orleans Pelicans, 89. Shea Alexander for 3. Get the hole in your life. Yes! This young team is poised. They're poised to climb that mountain. I still feel that they'll get knocked out somehow because they don't have the experience. And that experience, it may just cost them down the Thunder. The Thunder are good. But I think ultimately the lack of experience is going to catch those young boys. In my opinion, they're still a little bit wet behind the ears. That's just my story, and I'm sticking with it. I'm not hating. But I also want to say, when you think about the LA Lakers, they're out again. They don't want to go through Denver next time. They're the number 7 seed. They lost to the number 2 seed. The Denver Nuggets, defending NBA champions. It was 108-106. Jamal Murray for 3. Yes! Get the hole in your life! He's good. No one can doubt how good the Denver Nuggets are. So all the talk about LeBron James, maybe wanting to opt out to play with the Sun. Anthony Davis, in my opinion, as great an athlete as he is, you can't tell me that a bump on the shoulder is going to cause him to have so much pain that he couldn't even lift his arm. That game, in that play by Davis, it could have cost the Lakers because Denver went on a run when he went down. It was his arm really that bad where he couldn't feel it? I don't know. But if it was, you got to find someone tougher down in the paint for the LA Lakers. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Tonight's TNT doubleheader features a pair of elimination games as the New York Knicks, they try to close out the 76ers at home. And then the Pacers try to advance past the Bucks on the road. It's a 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off. And the Mavericks and the Cavaliers meet on NBA TV, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, in the pivotal Game 5 series. And Murray again. For anyone that says Murray had a strain in his calf, it was a game-time decision with a calf strain, but was determined to play. By the end of the night, the decision to let him play, it proved wise. Murray hit his second game-winning basket. Murray for 3! Yes! In your life! Get the hole! He's clutch. A 14-foot pull-up jumper off a pick and roll with Nikola Jokic, the Joker, with 3.6 seconds left to beat the LA Lakers 108-106 and clinch the series in 5 games. And when you think about it, Murray is the only player in the NBA play-by-play era since 1997-1998 to sink 2 game-winning field goals in the final 5 seconds of a game in a playoff series. Murray for 3 in your life. Get the hole. Yes! I mean, I love NBA basketball. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. So nobody can tell me that Denver was not the better team. All the talk about what the Lakers could have done, they just played a better team. No matter what you think about basketball, sometimes and usually the best team wins. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. But before I close out on the show today with Big C Sports Podcast, I want to play one of the greatest speakers in the history of the universe. I know we all want to watch the game. You want to hear touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh man, Willie, he's going all the way in your life. Get the hole, yes! I want you to hear the greatest speaker in the history of the United States and why we should all champion reparations. Not just for me, but for you. Give me your thoughts.
Back in the early 60s. And I thought this was a really interesting quote. Here he is.
The problem. At the very same time that America refused to give the Negro any land, through an act of Congress, our government was giving away millions of acres of land in the West and the Midwest, which meant that it was willing to undergird its white peasants from Europe with an economic floor. But not only did they give the land, they built land-grant colleges with government money to teach them how to farm. Not only that, they provided county agents to further their expertise in farming. Not only that, they provided low interest rates in order that they could mechanize their farms. Not only that, today many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies not to farm, and they are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with. And this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.
From his speech, The Two Nations of Black America. And it's absolutely brilliant. And the next time some white person talks about, well, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and my family did too, especially the Bundy boys. I mean, you know, here's Martin Luther King, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talking about how basically whites stole the West from the Indians with the complete, and didn't just steal it, I mean murdered them, murdered the Indians in the process, and did not give any of these benefits to African Americans for 100 years in this country. You know, it's a strong case for reparations or some variation on it, for rebuilding our cities, for doing right after having done wrong for so many centuries. It is a very, very strong case for that.
In your life, get the hole, yes! I love talking about reparations. I love not just being someone who wants to go touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh man, Willie, he's going all the way. Well, that's what's different about Big C Sports Podcast, and I love being a proponent and a vanguard for civil rights. Well, that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. As I always tell you, I really do appreciate my family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my beautiful mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. My beautiful father, the most beautiful father in the history of the universe. I love my mama and dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd, with that bombastic voice sound like thunder and lightning when time to speak. Always saying go forward, a voracious reader. And my beautiful daughter Daisy, I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. College graduate, 2 degrees with honors, and 3.5 years from a major university. My beautiful handsome son Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, very smart, erudite, a good man. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. Always trust God. And then Big C, with all that wealth of knowledge over the years, always saying you gotta believe, you gotta believe, you gotta believe. Saying let's get ready to rumble. I love bringing to you Big C Sports Podcast. Yeah, I am a little bit different, and I like it that way. But as I always tell you, if you're gonna drink, don't drive. If you're gonna drive, don't drink, because mothers against drunk drivers are mad, and fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft, you can walk it off, you can sleep it off, but don't let someone you love get behind the wheel of a car and start driving after they've been drinking. The life you save may be your own, or someone you love. That's my story, I'm taking with it. As I always tell you, my beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go to that crap on their own. You need more leader in your life. Leader is an acronym for love is the answer. If anybody's going, I only slapped you because you made me mad. I only choked you because you made me mad. I only kicked you because you made me mad. Leave that knucklehead, pick up the phone, call 911. No one should ever have to put up with that crap. That's my story. I'm sticking with it, and things change when the police show up. And as I always tell you, for every Big C Sports podcast, backed by popular demand, back in the day, there's a man known by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He's known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. He said, with all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat. Every time I listen to Big C Sports, I want to champion reparations now, reparations forever. And then I float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. I want to always say, I believe in championing reparations the same way we champion sports, because it's right here on the books. And all I ask is that all of our men, women, and children of all colors, all races, all ethnic groups, support where President Abraham Lincoln signed in the law by executive order. We have the California Reparations Task Force. I'm always championing them. It's time for President Biden to do the right thing. Let's do what President Abraham Lincoln said. I know you want to know who won the game, but how about if we champion reparations now? Reparations forever. Come on, you can say it louder than that. You cheer louder than that at a game. Let's champion what Abraham Lincoln and Martin Luther King said. They said, sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. Come on, say it with your heart, mind, body, and soul, like you just won the game. Champion reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day.